Every border that exists today is a made-up line that determines who controls whichever side. And because of this and human nature, we've ended up with a planet carved into somewhere around 200 separate sovereign countries.
The United States is a complicated country with a complicated geometry. Take Colorado, for instance, which just seems like a simple rectangle. While that appears to be true from far above on every map you've probably ever seen, taking a closer look at this rectangle reveals some disturbing geometric truths. Colorado ain't no rectangle. Back in 1876, when Colorado was first admitted as a state, the legislation which created it defined the state's borders purely by lines of latitude and longitude without any regard for natural boundaries, like mountains or rivers. Specifically, the state of Colorado was then defined as being all the land which existed between the latitude lines 37 degrees north and 41 degrees north, and between the longitudinal lines of 102 degrees 3 minutes west and 109 degrees 3 minutes west. From the very beginning, Colorado was doomed to never be the shape of a true rectangle. Earth is obviously shaped like a sphere. So, while lines of latitude are of course all parallel with one another, lines of longitude all move to converge at a single point the further you move away from the equator. Therefore, from the get-go, Colorado's northern border was going to always be shorter than its southern border. And in fact, it's 21 miles shorter to be exact. Colorado therefore entered into life as more of a trapezoid. But it goes much further than that. When the state was created in 1876, surveyors had to be hired to accurately map out all of Colorado's borders using the technology of the time on foot. They followed the lines of latitude and longitude that set the borders across hundreds of miles through mountainous terrain the best they could while marking it all out with mileposts, but they weren't perfect. Take the boundary between Colorado and Utah as a prime example. It runs from south to north for 276 miles, and when the original surveyors reached the north end with Wyoming, they noticed that they ended up 1 mile west of where they expected to be at. This meant that there were at least a few kinks in the border where they had strayed off course, because, as it turns out, walking in a perfectly straight line across 276 miles through the mountains in the 19th century was pretty difficult. In fact, there are little errors and kinks like this all around the supposedly square shape of Colorado. And because of all these errors, Colorado doesn't have 4 sides, but 697 sides to be exact, making the true shape of Colorado a hexahectian neocontici heptagon.
Pakistan and India. This awesome ceremony has to be one of the most unusual events we've ever seen. Yup, every day as the sun sets on the Wagah-Atari border between Pakistan and India, this incredible dance party takes place as a symbol of brotherhood and cooperation. For two countries with such a tense political history, this drill is an important moment that brings these neighbors together on a daily basis. In 2010, it was even decided that the more aggressive dance moves should be toned down so that the whole thing had a more peaceful vibe to it. Oh yeah, and did we mention that the guards have a strict mustache policy in which they're paid extra to grow some seriously impressive facial hair? That's right, these guys mean business.
This is the most interesting town in Europe. Welcome to Barl. This is Barl Hertog in Belgium, and this is Barl Nassau in the Netherlands. There are 2 countries that share the town. And yes, there are 2 churches, 2 bus lines, 2 mailboxes, and even 2 different beers.
This is Belgium and this is Holland.
2 legal drinking ages.
This line is the border, and it splits everything in 2: shops, buildings, and city hall.
As you can see, the borderline is running to this boardroom. Now I am in Belgium, and I can hop over to the Netherlands.
It even splits houses in half. So, check it out, guys. These are called line houses. Everyone who lives here has to follow the door rule. If your front door is in the Netherlands, you live in the Netherlands. And if your front door is in Belgium, you live in Belgium. But here is the crazy part. You still have to pay taxes for 2 countries.
If you have a home like this, then you have to pay tax for the square meters you have in Belgium or in the Netherlands.
You might be wondering, why is the town like this?
The origins of Barl's unusual division trace back to medieval times when land was exchanged between local lords.
Each collection of Belgian and Dutch pockets of land is actually an enclave, which is a country lying entirely within the boundaries of another country. Other examples of enclaves are San Marino in Italy, the Vatican in Rome, and Lesotho in South Africa. However, the Barleys beat all of these because it's not just one enclave. It's 22 Belgian enclaves, 1 Dutch enclave, and 7 Dutch enclaves within Belgian enclaves. Alright guys, the 4th strangest border that I want to tell you about today is the Diomede Islands, which separate Russia and the United States. Yes, they are neighboring countries. There are 2 islands which consist of rocky plateaus in the middle of the Bering Strait between mainland Alaska and Russian Siberia. Both islands are separated by the international date line, something like Samoa and American Samoa, which means they are 24 hours apart. Traveling to the Diomede Islands is nearly impossible. You must charter a flight or helicopter and it will land on ice. The only town of Diomede has 135 people, and their ethnic group is called the Inuit, similar to the ones I saw in eastern Greenland when I was in the town of Ittoqqortoormiit.
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 It's just like, you could also pronounce English words quickly, like eat, cut, duck, door, meat.
Eat, cut, duck, door, meat.
Yeah.
This is the border that separates the United States from Mexico. From above, you can see the differences between the two. One of these countries is richer than the other. The grass is even greener in the US. That's why many try to cross this super hot desert and find opportunity in the US. Some don't even make it. But before you think Mexico has no opportunity, think again. The immigrants that don't make it to the US, I saw them finding jobs in Mexico, where palm trees are planted by these Mexicans. According to them, it's better to build in Mexico. They have fresh water, cheap labor, and opportunity on this side of the border. This is their gold mine. I saw Americans moving into Mexico to start businesses, make money, have fun, and jump in pools right near the border.
Good morning, guys.
It's early in the morning, and the parking lot on the U.S.-Mexican border fills up fast.
Any chance you can need a dentist?
Many are senior citizens who walk to the other side. These are Americans and some Canadians headed to the border town of Los Algodones, Mexico.
Welcome to Algodones, guys.
Most of them for health care.
Medical treatment can be very expensive, and even with insurance, for some people, it breaks the bank.
Now that has more and more people heading south of the border to get the same treatments for a lot less.
People come here for a whole lot of other reasons, including visiting the pharmacy, because the prices are right, and you don't always need a prescription.
That's what brings this Nebraskan here.
Oh, yeah, pretty much. The prescription drugs.
You take credit cards?
Yep.
Richard Morterid says he has been here dozens of times. He's a Marylander, but also a snowbird who comes south for the winter. While he's here, he goes to the dentist and he picks up a few months' worth of prescriptions, like this blood thinner, Eliquis.
With Part D, I still have to pay $199. Here, now with the rate, it's $82. Made by Pfizer, same packaging, same pill. I've compared them. Big difference.
We compared costs of a few popular generic drugs to prices at an Atlanta area pharmacy. Generic Advair here, $378. The same dosage in Mexico comes to $34.09. Generic Retin A is $198.48. South of the border, though, it's $26.39. And finally, generic Viagra. It's pricey in Atlanta, $115.52. That's for 4 pills. Same dosage in Mexico, 4 pills, for $3.99. But here's where things get sticky. According to the U.S. Customs and Border Protection and the FDA, these are the ground rules for entering the U.S. from Mexico with drugs. You can't get a controlled substance and bring it home without a prescription from a U.S. doctor. Drugs that are not FDA approved but are available out of the country cannot come back in across the border, and there's a 3-month supply limit. At the border heading home, this is where you'll see a line that can be 45 minutes long. You must declare what you've bought and have your passport. And sometimes tourists to Mexico will get what they need and stop off for a thing or two that they want.
And treatment there is as much as 70% less than what you'd pay here in Georgia. But that's not the only reason U.S. citizens grab their passports and head south.
Susan Buds is a snowbird from Canada. She's nearly 60 and has been doing Botox for years. She did her research and landed here at the Baja Surgery Center. The prep was extensive.
This is the expiration date.
She showed her the expiration dates on the sealed packages she opened in front of her.
I've been doing this 15 years. Nobody's ever shown me what they're giving me or if there's an expiry date.
Every single line is a unit.
Oh, I see. Okay.
She got Botox and fillers, again at a better price, and by Dr. Sashenka Ramos, whose resume is online. The price list for cosmetic and surgical procedures, they're posted there too.
We have everything for all the budget.
Another necessity for many on a fixed income is eye care.
So you can have your eye appointment.
Sure, we have an optometrist right here, so you can have your eye test. It won't take that long, 10 minutes.
And then you can get the glasses here too.
Sure, same day.
They have all the same designer names, but obviously prices vary depending on how fancy or how simple you want to go. She recommends making an eye appointment first. You can see a dentist or the pharmacist while you wait, because progressive lenses, well, they take a few hours.
Rising up from the Mexican desert, an oasis for dental care.
The Molar City. Here we are, waiting for you all.
Los Algodones, Mexico, better known as Molar City, is the self-proclaimed dental capital of the world. In this small community of just 5,000 people, there are more than 600 dentists working in some 300 clinics.
Back in Georgia,
posing for the pictures.
Mary and Clayton Travers of Waverly Hall, Georgia, made a trip west to see friends and to swing down to Mexico for dental surgery.
Did the facility look clean?
Absolutely. It was as nice, if not better, than any other facility I've been to in this country. All of their equipment was state of the art, and everything was immaculately clean.
Oh, did you feel safe?
Absolutely.
The whole time. Not a problem.
Not a
I
problem.
never worried about anything.
This retired pharmacist is here for extensive dental surgery.
The price was a big factor. I got a lot of fears, but I feel pretty good.
There are the obvious concerns like the water. Is it safe?
All the chairs have their own deposit filter water, sterile water pretty much.
And yes, they get you set up for insurance reimbursement. And with an aging population, health histories are vital.
If they've had surgeries in the past years, that we have the okay from their home doctors.
But it's the low cost that drives Americans over the border.
I'm seeing prices about 25 to 30% of what you would find in the U.S. And that's significant when you're talking implants or major dental work. And even minor stuff, for example, here it's $35 for a cleaning. It would cost me 3 or 4 times that in the States.
Many are coming here as a last resort.
I have friends who couldn't believe it.
Retired teacher Roberta Jones couldn't afford treatment back home in Arizona.
How does it make you feel as an American that you have to go to another country to get affordable care that you need?
I think it's very sad because I really do think everybody should have medical care.
I might need to get you numb for this.
Dr. Ever has seen a 40% increase in the number of American patients this year.
So you guys are seeing some of the worst cases here.
Definitely. We do a CT scan, we give him treatment plans, multiple options, totally normal dental practice.
And at much lower prices.
But it's not just the prices that brought Diane McFall and her husband from Rio Rico.
It's no good having cheap if the quality isn't there, but the quality actually is much better than what we found over there.
The McFalls are here for x-rays and a crown, and they'll get it all in just one visit.
Having a crown done, usually you have to have it wait for a week or two and come back. It's all done in one day here.
Safe and affordable. That's what we heard over and over on our trip to a town with so many dentists visited by so many Americans that it's nicknamed Molar City.
Brian Curry and his wife Teresa traveled more than 1,000 miles to save $35,000 on dental implants.
It's literally a huge cost savings.
Friends and family were more than a little skeptical.
They all go like, really? What are you thinking? And we just tell them we've done our research.
In the winter months, up to 7,000 Americans a day travel to Los Algodones, many of them attracted by the great dental deals advertised online.
I'm a happy camper. I can do this.
Dr. Ever is a third-generation dentist to run Dr. Para Implant Clinic.
Personalized speech tooth according to whatever specification.
He went to dental school in Mexico, gets additional training in the U.S. and Europe,
Everything's digital.
and lives in the United States. He's proud of his practice's safety nets and its state-of-the-art equipment, from consultation to crafting implants.
When we get out of the machine, it's something like this.
He says it's all done on site.
Dr. Portillo sees patients from all over the U.S. and Canada, as well as local residents. He started his career as a dental assistant in Tucson, and after attending dental school in Mexico, he worked for another dentist before opening his own practice.
Molar City is a great place to go for dental work, but when they see things or hear things about Molar City, their first question is, okay, how do I do this? Where do I go? Which dentist should I choose?
Ron Vinluin works with a U.S. company, Deo Dental, out of Phoenix. They represent Mexican dentists like Dr. Ever.
They have very strict qualifications.
His job is to connect Americans with safe dental care in Mexico. Their website compares U.S. prices to Mexico's, and they tell us they do an extensive in-house vetting of dentists and only take a handful, and they require them to guarantee their work for 5 years. Deo Dental will also negotiate on your behalf if there's a dispute. We checked with the CDC, and they don't say don't do this, but they do add that when you pick another country for health care, you have to be clear that English will be spoken. You need to check for antibiotic resistance in the area where you're going. And finally, be careful flying too soon after surgery, because this can put you at risk for blood clots.
You can use sites like Dental Departures to check professional qualifications and find a clinic's website and contact information.
Every clinic that is published on our website, we visit them, we take the pictures, we meet the doctors.
Next, check reviews.
I think the most important thing is reviews from other patients.
And when you get to the clinic, appearance
This is automatic.
and cleanliness are key. Experts definitely recommend you ask about the technology that a clinic has. The clinic we're at today in Nogales has a 3D printer that can make you a new ceramic tooth in just about 30 minutes.
They cross the border near Yuma, Arizona. Unfamiliar? Well, it's about a 3-hour drive southwest of Phoenix. There's an airport. Parking at the border is only $6, or you can get a hotel shuttle here. Some even stay the night in town.
And if you're worried about getting down to Nogales, Coyote Dental leaves from Tucson twice a week and goes straight to the clinics in Mexico.
We're a shuttle service and a referral service for patients to save 70% on their dental work in Nogales. So we bring people down and show them the ropes and teach them how to get across and save all kinds of cash.
Come down and enjoy Mexico. It is wonderful to come across the border.
Quality of care is superb here.
Maybe the 80% of all my patient is from the United States.
Nearly everyone speaks English.
How you guys doing?
You can pay in U.S. dollars, use a credit card, even write a personal check. And don't forget your passport.